I remember when I was a kid, the family vehicle had a DVD player in it, and because of this, we had a literal basket of movies that we kept in our car at all times. Most were just your generic family-friendly flicks. The Pacifier, Spider-Man 1 the movie game, Flushed Away, and the Friday trilogy, among others. And of course, I always had to make a case for what movie I wanted to watch, seeing as how there was a younger sister and an older brother in the car. But there was one movie that never failed to get a unanimous agreement from all parties. And that was the 2006 family-friendly monster movie Halloween extravaganza that released in mid-July, Monster House. Gil Kenan sits in the director's chair for tonight's feature. Oh, what? You've never heard of Gil Kenan? Well, don't feel too bad because most people have not. Monster House was the man's first directorial debut. He earned this opportunity after his graduate thesis, The Lark, plopped him in the office of the man himself, Robert Zemeckis, who saw the potential and gave him the reins on a screenplay penned by Dan Harmon, with Zemeckis himself and Steven Spielberg executive producing. Kenan was given access to the performance capture technology that Zemeckis pioneered just 2 years beforehand with a little film called The Polar Express. With so many experienced players involved, there's no way it could fail, right? Well, let's see if this movie truly is a Halloween tale for the ages or just beginner's luck. Our feature begins with a grandiose tracking shot of a young girl singing, stirring up fall-colored foliage as she pedals along the sidewalk of a suburban neighborhood. She's innocently trading la-la-la-la-la's with the non-diegetic score as she suddenly stopped in front of an ominous, rickety house by, the Fresh Morning Dew? But this causes an angry old man to burst from the shadows inside, running and yelling at her. He asks her if she wants to be eaten, to which she replies, "No!" She ditches her wheels only for them to be destroyed by the mean old man as he walks back inside. But not before catching the flash of our protagonist's, telescope. Okay, well this won't be the only ludicrous thing in this movie, so we can add photo capturing telescopes to the list. After documenting the latest of his neighbor's tricycle capturings, our hero DJ, played by a young Mitchell Musso, goes downstairs to tell his mom and dad goodbye, as they're leaving for something, but it's never explained. Although, DJ's dad has an inflatable tooth and this giant toothbrush, so it must be some of that good, kinky shit. He tells them of the tricycle mutilation he just witnessed, and they both shrug it off as if they've been told the same story before. Just as they're trading I love yous and goodbyes, we're introduced to the best friend, Chowder.
You take the moon and you take the sun.
No, not that one. This pudgy dork is DJ's best friend, and he ran over here to remind him that tomorrow night will be Halloween, or candy time, as he puts it. After pitching some costume ideas, DJ breaks the news that he doesn't think he'll be going trick-or-treating, as he's just getting too old to be trick-or-treating like some kid. Chowder ignores the notion, however, and proceeds to start swagging on DJ with his new basketball. And now might be a good time to talk about the animation style of this film. So, as I said, this movie uses a pioneered type of motion capture technology called performance capture. This film was originally being looked at by DreamWorks Animation Studios before it fell into turnaround. Turnaround being Hollywood nomenclature denoting when a film is becoming too expensive for the studio, thus claimed it as a loss on the company's tax returns. It was around this time when Sony jumped in to save the project and offered to produce the feature using the fancy performance capture stage known as image motion. Now, it might be a personal preference, but the way some of these characters move always seems so off to me. Like, even as a kid, I thought it looked weird. It almost looks too realistic. And unsurprisingly, in some behind-the-scenes extras, Gil says that he intentionally used as much raw motion capture data he could to make the animation seem more lifelike. So I suppose I wasn't just imagining things, but I wouldn't even say I dislike it, it's just a style to adjust to. After seeing the ball roll over to the lawn of the nasty old man, Mr. Nebercracker, DJ playfully tells Chowder he's sorry for his loss. But Chowder then prods DJ to act like the grown-up he claims to be and go get it for him. After taking only a few steps, the door swings open. After executing a perfect dodge, DJ accidentally kicked up some dirt and messes up the lawn. After which the old man tells him he's dead and grabs him, pulling him back towards the house. Okay, yeah, I can see why this scared me as a kid. Nebbercracker lifts DJ into the air, screaming at him about how he messed up, but just then he freezes up and falls to the ground on top of DJ, dead. The house seemingly winces before the chimney ignites on its own. The paramedics wheel Nebbercracker's body away, surprising everyone in attendance. A glimmer of light catches DJ's eye as he runs over to find a golden key. As the ambulance drives away in silence and Chowder runs home, DJ is stricken with guilt. The babysitter Elizabeth then pulls into the driveway, acting as the perfect guardian before confirming the parents are gone, which causes her to transform into Z, the terrible babysitter who's only in it for a paycheck. She's a jerk who pays DJ no mind when he tries to actually ask her advice on the day's recent events. After being ignored, he responds by telling her that he doesn't even need her to be here because he's practically an adult. To which she nonchalantly picks up a potted plant and breaks it, asking who they'll believe. I'm pretty sure they would both get in trouble just leaving a mess in the middle of the hallway like that for the whole time that the parents were gone. But, well, she jams out to some thrash metal in a very mocap-esque way before picking up the phone. DJ sulks in his room before falling asleep. A bad dream then wakes him up, only to hear that the phone is ringing. He answers twice to nothing but heavy breathing. Fed up by this prank, he calls the number back himself, just to faintly hear the phone ringing across the street at Nebbercracker. This is Bones, Z's friend/love interest. He's played by Jason Lee of Chipmunks and Evangelized Ex-Criminal fame. He's also a pretty inconsequential character. DJ tries to show his discovery but is congratulated for simply calling the neighbors. Bones then taunts DJ, taking and destroying his stuffed animal for no reason. You need to put that one on your list, Earl, you jerk. Frustrated by his lack of credibility and sanity, two things you don't want to lack, take it from me, he calls up the only other person he can trust.
Oh my goodness!
No! Stop doing that. Also, real quick, Chowder is the most secretly sad character in this movie. Listen to what he says after DJ asks where his parents are.
My dad's at the pharmacy and my mom's at the movies with her personal trainer.
Oh my god! As a kid, that flew right over my head, but now the implications are just really sad. DJ's sneaking downstairs when he overhears Bones telling Z about a kite that he loved as a kid. He goes on to reveal that one day it crashed down on Nebbercracker's lawn. The old man took it, of course, but not before seemingly talking to his house. Bones shrugs off any attempt at condolence as he tells us that Nebbercracker allegedly ate his own wife. After rolling around on the floor for a sec, Z kicks him out for not respecting women. Now feeling his drinks and emotions, Bones boldly celebrates the death of Nebbercracker by stomping around on the lawn. Just then, the front door opens and the kite that Bones lost all those years ago entices him inside, just before kidnapping him and slamming the door shut. DJ meets Chowder at a construction site, explaining that Nebbercracker is back from the dead and he thinks he's haunting him. Chowder says he's crazy and needs to relax and try to be more cool like him. Chowder agrees to help investigate, but under the pretense that DJ must accompany him tomorrow night for trick-or-treating. After watching the house intensely for some time, Chowder becomes fed up with DJ's paranoia and volunteers to go ding-dong ditch the house. After a good ring, the house comes to life and understandably tries to eat the annoying little shit, but is unsuccessful, leaving the boys to retreat for the night. The next morning, Z is awoken by a ring at the door. This is Jenny, a smart redhead selling candy for her school, and smart redheads can be trouble, I tell you from experience. Z takes some candy to DJ and Chowder, who freak out and claim they haven't left the room once for fear of detection. Chowder and DJ then spot Jenny. After going all Google, they realize she's about to try to sell to the wrong house. They sprint downstairs and across the street to warn her, just for her to literally call them mentally challenged, but the house comes to life and tries to eat her, so the boys spring into action, saving the day. But this is the one time where I'm really interested in how nobody saw this. The sidewalk shot up from the ground while children were screaming their lungs out. And this wasn't a brief occurrence. We see that DJ and Chowder have ample time to run and contemplate while the house bounces Jenny like a circus act. Then the concrete slams back down, but not a soul could be bothered to check it out. You know, I'm glad real crime isn't a problem in this town, because apparently no one would care. And fed up with all this funny business, Z goes off to find her misogynistic, abusive boyfriend. DJ nervously introduces himself to Jenny, while Chowder confidently makes a fool of himself. While the boys play a game of who's more unworthy,
DJ? You pee in bottles?
a dog gets eaten and they summon the cops. Kevin James and Nick Cannon play the cops here, and it's yet another great scene with tons of funny moments.
If things get out of hand.
We'll aim for Bigfoot.
They try to show the officers what they're talking about, but it doesn't happen and the officers don't believe them, so they go to the next best thing. Skull. An arcade gaming wizard played by none other than Napoleon Dynamite. The boys timidly seek an audience with him, but without disturbing him, seeing as how he's in the game zone. Getting tired of her compatriot's patience, Jenny directly approaches the guru. He tells them that he has heard of human souls becoming merged to physical constructs before, and that to destroy it, they must strike it at the source of life, before running off to his next grand quest. You know, sometimes the characters in this movie really feel pointless to me. Like, yeah, the interaction for Skull was fun and really cute.
Look at that blood.
But did it need to be an entire scene with a big name actor tied to it? During the casting of this movie, Gil consistently got his first picks for every character in the film. And while that's great for decking out the movie's posters with big names, does it not ring a little hollow to only have them say 6 lines, eat a piece of candy, and burst out the doors? Same thing for Bones. His role in the story is basically more exposition about Nebercracker before he gets chomped. It feels like these two things could have either been explained in a more natural way, or just have the characters, more so Skull, be more important somehow. After pinpointing the chimney to be the source of life, they devise a plan to feed it a dummy full of sleeping medicine from Chowder's dad's store, infiltrate it while it's sleeping, and destroy the source of life. At first hesitant, Chowder then agrees to it all. And after a montage, the time has come, and everything is going all according to plan until the cops show up and bust the kids. After some reconnaissance, they're planning on taking the kids to jail, but not before Nick Cannon cop claims to hear a noise. The house is just as annoyed as I am, so it takes all the bites out of crime and eats the 2 officers whole, then immediately goes for the trio who are stuck in the cop car. And yet no one sees this whole thing. Oy vey. After some quick thinking, they avoid going down the big scary green hole in the house, and the creature returns to normal. The group surmises that the house must not know they're still alive, so this is a great opportunity to complete their mission and extinguish the heart. After some snooping, they shoot a hanging thing, causing the house to waterbend out the front door. After assessing the biology of the house, Jenny claims that they must have shot the uvula.
Oh, so it's a girl house.
And after more searching, they fall down into the basement where they find the collection of toys that Mr. Nebercracker has taken over the years. DJ stumbles across a large locked cage with the words "Constance the Giantess" written overhead. He takes out the key he got from Nebercracker and opens the cage. He finds the body of Constance completely buried in cement, before tripping and breaking the cement with his big nose somehow. This wakes up the house and it starts to capture them all one by one, leading them to the big green scary throat hole. Jenny quickly parkours up to the uvula and causes the house to throw them back up onto the lawn. Annoyed that he's been put into this situation, Chowder and DJ have a big fight. Chowder claims he's done and wants to go home, causing Jenny to step in and say they're acting like babies. DJ interjects by saying they are babies, calling out the kid-like nature of their plan, trying to put a monster to sleep with cold medicine. Just before he leaves, he says the funniest and most relatable quote I've ever heard.
I'm going home. I suck.
Just then, DJ is almost run over by a speeding vehicle. After realizing he's okay, the shadowy figure of Mr. Nebercracker is revealed standing over him. After screaming at the kids to get away, his mind trails off as he reminds himself of what day it is. He cracks a smile and says, "Honey, I'm home." The house begins to shake and flicker its shutters in excitement. As he tries to comfort her, Mr. Nebercracker also reaches into an explosives box, as DJ realizes the house is Constance the Giantess. After the old man stumbles from anger, DJ asks if he killed her, to which he says no, and confesses that he loves her so much. We see a flashback that shows a young Nebercracker stealing Constance from her imprisonment at a circus. We then see them trying to build a life and house together, but nasty children berate and harass the large woman. But Where did these kids come from? There is literally nothing around here. Unless you mean to tell me they came all the way out here to the middle of nowhere just to harass her. Oh my God. No, never mind. Forget I said anything. And if that's the case, then I could see why she'd be so upset. But Nevercracker reminds her that he will never let anyone hurt her until she gets egged and suddenly goes on an axe-wielding rampage to try and kill these children, which ultimately leads to her death as she cases herself in cement. This is why Mr. Nevercracker is always so mean and relentless to anyone coming around his house. He doesn't want Constance to hurt them, but DJ begs him to let her go. He's reluctant because he's afraid if he lets her go, he'll have no one. But DJ reaffirms him that's not true. But Big Girl over there didn't like that one bit. As soon as she sees her man holding hands with little Sheldon, she has an absolute hissy fit. She takes chase after them all, rampaging through the entire neighborhood before being stopped by Mr. Nevercracker. The old man tries to show her what's best for her by appealing to her other needs.
You've been a bad girl, haven't you?
He reassures her that he's always done what's best for her as he lights the fuse. Constance snatches the old man and is about to do away with him before he's saved by the kids. A further injured Nevercracker gives DJ, an actual child, a highly combustible stick of dynamite and tells him to go blow up his house while Chowder has a kaiju battle with it. As Chowder battles the monster, they fall down a cliffside while it shatters into pieces. But the house was only at half health and the fight enters its second phase. Chowder, still trying to move it into position for DJ and Jenny, is having trouble. DJ, feeling a little scared, gets some courage from Jenny. Moving out onto the crane, the winch drops unexpectedly, causing DJ to swing. One incredible throw later, DJ is poised to deliver the final blow, which he does in a spectacular slam dunk, ridding this town from the monster once and for all. In the aftermath, we see Mr. Nevercracker having one final dance with his wife before he says goodbye. He then kneels on the ground before DJ approaches and apologizes for his loss. He gets up and says that after 45 long years, they're all finally free, and thanks all of his new friends for everything. But we're not done. Halloween night is upon us. After everything is said and done, our heroes begin handing all the lost toys and goodies that Mr. Nevercracker has taken over the years. Jenny then says that she and DJ should hang out sometime before being picked up by her mom. Nevercracker tells DJ and Chowder to go have some fun and stay off my lawn, before laughing and telling them he'll see him around. Back across the street, Mom and Dad are back from their, escapades. And after lodging his newly recovered ball in the goal, Chowder concedes that maybe they are getting too old for trick-or-treating. To which DJ agrees. But on the other hand, they've been very busy working all night, and they could use some candy time as they run off to indulge in some childish activities this Halloween night. Yep, this is a really spectacular Halloween movie. It has such a great looking style to it. I would say almost Tim Burton-esque, but not quite. Absolutely inspired by him, if not. The animation, while maybe not conventional, is wholly unique and worth the praise. Especially with the amount of planning and ingenuity that must have gone into operating a massive stage like Image Motion. You could make the JonTron argument and say, what was this thing shot on, Microsoft Kinect? But I think that's a little unfair and underinformed for this film. And good lord, is this movie funny. Going back and watching this, you can tell that it was written by Dan Harmon. The man is an Academy Award nominee, and it shows all the way back to this work. And I'm sure having the two big names like Spielberg and Zemeckis was a big help to the project, but not much of their involvement was documented. The filming process was extensively captured, and it was so cool to look back in time to see all these people in their youth. Like how the kid who plays Chowder grew up to play Jeff on the Goldbergs, for the 7 of you that watch real TV. It's just so cool to see that kind of thing. As for the green director himself, Gil Kenan, after Monster House was nominated for Best Animated Feature but lost to Happy Feet, he jumped back into a few projects in the following years, but they never made quite the same splash. Later agreeing to direct and co-write the Five Nights at Freddy's movie before leaving the project, he's now set to co-write Ghostbusters Afterlife coming next year, so good for old Gil. This film is a great watch, and I think that you would be doing yourself a huge disservice by not watching it this Halloween season. But I won't keep you too long. Halloween is only a few days away, so you still have some time to grab a copy from Amazon or something, and watch it with some loved ones. My copy came bundled with Hotel Transylvania for like $10. Another great Halloween movie. That's a steal, but I'll stop rambling. I appreciate you for watching, so thanks for stopping by, and have a spooky night.